Around 11:30 on November 16, 2017, George Young arrived home from a long day of work. As he put his key in the door, he was shot twice and killed on his own porch. As the investigation progressed, Tim and Tia were both arrested and charged in connection with the murder of George Young.
Who could forget a grieving wife flanked by her emotionally overwhelmed children?
I don't know how I'm gonna do it by myself.
Mourning the death of George Young, a security guard killed on his front porch after a long day of work on November 16th. At least twice since the murder, Tia Young spoke with 11 Alive, pleading for the killer to come forward and face justice for killing her innocent husband.
Everybody loved George.
But months after the crime, police say these tears were hiding a deep, dark secret. Young and a family friend, Harvey Tim Lee, now accused of killing the father of three. Investigators say the two were having an affair in the home Young shared with her husband, and they killed him to cash in on his $1 million insurance policy.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to a live offering. Hey, Trinity Time Travels, a live offering of Villains Unveiled. Now, during the month of January, we will be doing uploads for Villains Unveiled, but every now and again, we'll pop in with a real life villain. Now, today, we're going to talk about the sorrowful story of Tia Young and Harvey Lee. This chilling story lays bare the dark side of human relationships, betrayal, and its devastating consequences. Tia Young, a wife and mother, found herself entangled in a passionate affair with Harvey Lee, a man willing to risk everything for their forbidden love. Together, they plotted to remove the one obstacle standing in their way: Tia's husband, George Young. The cold and calculated plan to eliminate George was carried out with ruthless precision, shattering a family and leaving a legacy of heartbreak. While Tia and Harvey sought freedom, the true victims were the children, whose lives were irreparably altered by the loss of their father and the betrayal of their mother. In this heart-wrenching episode, we delve into the intricate web of deception that led to George's tragic demise and explore the lasting consequences on the innocent lives left behind. Witness the tragic fallout of a love affair gone horribly wrong, the struggle for justice, and the harrowing emotional toll on a fractured family. Today, for this episode, my co-host is Cellulite Podcast. Hey, baby.
Hey, baby, what's going on?
Nothing much. What do you think about tonight's subject matter?
Well, it may have skipped over a few people's heads what actually had happened with this young lady and these two young men, this tragic entire case. But I think the whole entire thing is messed up because it speaks to a narrative that is not really outwardly expressed. It's overlooked in many social circles because it goes against a lot of the beliefs when it comes to relationships and outcomes, especially when there's something on the line. So it should be interesting.
Yeah, I think I'm going to play the intro again, just for people that might have missed it. Just a bit of it anyway. Pay attention. Watch closely.
Around 11:30 on November 16, 2017, George Young arrived home from a long day of work. As he put his key in the door, he was shot twice and killed on his own porch. As the investigation progressed, Tim and Tia were both arrested and charged in connection with the murder of George Young.
Who could forget? A grieving wife, flanked by her emotionally overwhelmed children.
I don't know how I'm gonna do it by myself.
Mourning the death of George Young, a security guard killed on his front porch after a long day of work on November 16th. At least twice since the murder, Tia Young spoke with 11 Alive, pleading for the killer to come forward and face justice for killing her innocent husband.
Everybody loved George.
But months after the crime, police say these tears were hiding a deep, dark secret. Young and a family friend, Harvey Tim Lee, now accused of killing the father of 3. Investigators say the two were having an affair in the home Young shared with her husband, and they killed him to cash in on his $1 million insurance policy.
Now, for those of you that don't understand the full severity of the situation, this man, Harvey Lee, was moved into the home by George Young. He was a co-worker and he was standing in the need of a blessing. He offered him shelter, and this man started sleeping with his wife, and ultimately it cost him his life. Now, in tonight's episode, we're going to look at the court documentation, as well as Tia's interrogation, which is how they actually broke the case. Are y'all ready? You ready, babe?
Yep, been made ready.
All right, let's begin.
Okay.
And definitely nothing deal with him, wanting him dead for money. Nothing.
This is Tia Young, the prime suspect in the murder of her own husband, George Young. But detectives suspect that she wasn't alone, because hidden behind her acts of denial is a complex love triangle and the race for $1 million.
He said you guys were in a relationship and that you were the mastermind behind all of this, and it was your idea because you wanted the $1 million life insurance policy, and he could take over George's job, and you guys would be set to be together. And that was the whole deal.
Well, I can tell you that's a lie.
On November 16, 2017, at 11:30 p.m., 43-year-old George Young returned to his home after working late into the night as a security guard for rapper Lil Yachty. Considering the safety risk of his job, George had made sure that he wasn't being followed that night, but he did not expect that someone would be waiting for him inside his own home. Because the moment he unlocked his door, the only thing George heard was a gunshot. He had been shot directly in the face, giving him little to no chance of survival. The first individuals to respond were George's wife, Tia, and oddly enough, another male living at the residence, Tim Lee. By the time the officers arrived, Tim was attempting chest compressions on the victim, George, while Tia stood and watched. Investigating the crime scene, officers soon discovered a string of inconsistencies that would lead them to a murder case filled with conspiracies and lies. The first of these inconsistencies was an incredibly weird request that Tia made to dispatch.
Begged when I called 911, I begged them not to turn sirens on because I didn't want my kids to see him like that.
The cops.
Now, that is a very intriguing request, because what is louder than a gunshot?
Few things that's louder than a gunshot, but a gunshot is easily identifiable. Now, the only thing that's close enough to that would be fireworks, but it's November. Who's popping off fireworks in November?
Exactly, but it gets deeper. It gets deeper, guys.
Obviously could not do this and had to turn their sirens on. But by the time officers arrived, they discovered the children still slept through not only the loud sirens, but the gunshots as well. Questioning the children, officers soon discovered that they didn't simply fall asleep. They had been forced to stay asleep as they were fed sleeping pills by Tia before they went to bed. Even stranger was a neighbor who gave an interview to officers, explaining that he saw Tim Lee initially running away from the dead body towards George's car. Officers later found out that a tracker had been removed from the car. But the most important discovery wasn't a clue from the crime scene, but a $1 million insurance policy that George had, and the beneficiary was none other than his own wife, Tia. At this point, officers had more questions than answers. Why did Tia feed the children sleeping pills? Why did Tim remove a tracker with a dead man in front of him? And most importantly, what was the relationship between Tim and Tia? To find answers to this, officers dug deeper into any communication between the two. This is when they found emails and texts filled with sexual messages. Tia was having an affair, and Tim was her secret lover. Officers finally had a lead, and a few months later, the two were called in for an interview. But before they can talk to Tia, the primary suspect, they need as much evidence against her as possible. This is why they first call in Tim and confront him directly about his secret relationship. The footage you are about to...
Child, listen. This is juicy. Get your popcorn, get your snacks, honey. Like the video and share it out.
Yeah,
Babe.
shit's about to get real.
Yes, it's about to get so real. So.
Did we say hey to the people?
No, we didn't, because this
My
is
bad.
Villains Unveiled. Hello to everyone entering the building. We will be communicating with you via text during this showing. Now let's
Love
get into
y'all.
the interrogation.
to see was provided to us by the Gwinnett County Sheriff's Office.
So one of the things was, obviously I talked to you before, and a lot of people had some concerns. What was your relationship with Tia? I know that you guys say it's a brother-sister relationship. I know that in the phone it said big sis, and you had said that that's what it was going to say inside the phone. That's how you had her saved. What is the relationship in your eyes, and what was it before? Has it changed at all through any of this?
I mean, she's still my big sister.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what, I always look out for her. If you ask her mom, she'll tell you the same thing.
So, I mean, I talked to her mom, and that's what she said. My question too is, in your phone, you have her saved as Big Sis. In her phone, she has you listed as a female's name for both of your numbers. You know why that is?
I mean, I never went through her phone.
So this is her phone, and these are your numbers saved under this female name. And then that's the black phone you had, and then the IPH is the iPhone.
Well,
So why is she?
Sonya is my sister.
Mm-hmm. Does your sister had both your numbers?
No, I'm talking about my big sister,
Mm-hmm.
my real sister. Her
Yeah.
first name is Sonya.
Okay.
So I don't know why she has
But
that.
why would she save you in her phone as that? If you guys are so close, why would she feel like she has to hide it?
I don't know. I don't go through her phone.
Okay. I mean, I'm just curious. I mean, was she worried that George, did you guys talk a lot that George didn't know about? That she was gonna, she thought he was gonna be upset?
We always talk in front of George. So I mean, it wouldn't just be several of her co-workers, but like she said, and if you'd ask her mom would tell you the same thing. Matter of fact, the boys, like we could be in the room. Matter of fact, and I know Ivy brought it up that night, but we can be in the room, listening to music, watching movies. George come home, he'd go get the computer chair, pull it right in the room, and we'd all just sit and watch the same movie. Because they didn't have a TV in their bedroom. So the only two TVs in the house upstairs is mine and the mother's, Tia's mother. So
Okay.
Tim is
First of all, I don't know about you, but no one can just come into the bedroom I share with my husband watching TV. You just wouldn't be watching no TV. Baby, what's your thoughts about that?
You got your own motherfucking TV. First of all, ain't nobody living with us. Let's get that out the way. Once these kids are grown and gone, it's over. Second of all, How the hell you just waltzing into somebody's goddamn house? How the hell you just waltzing into somebody's goddamn bedroom while they laid in the bed or whatever? You don't have open access to the house. You are a guest. The most access you have is the guest room, the bathroom, and the front door. That's it. Other than that, you don't go, just trollop around the damn house whenever the hell you want to.
Maybe
So
the
him
kitchen.
maybe the kitchen. No, not even the kitchen. I don't know you like that. It's my kitchen. It's our kitchen. We cook in that kitchen. So no, you don't have that much access. But yeah, for him to feel comfortable enough to just be going in and out of the bedroom, some fishy shit was going on.
And the husband was down with it. He really trusted him.
Completely unwilling to crack. However, detectives have just the thing to soften him up and get more answers out of him.
So obviously when, we talk to everybody that we feel like has any kind of past or talking to anybody. So obviously I talked to Zena. And when I talked to her, she said that you had told her you were dating somebody named Tia. And that you told her it was a school teacher, but that when she called her, it was Tia's phone, and Tia answered while she was during Valentine's Day with George. You know about that? You don't remember that? She sent you an email talking about it. Did you read her emails?
I rarely read Zena's emails because she trash talks so much.
Okay.
Half of them get deleted, honestly.
Okay. All right. Yeah, she said every time she asked you or she confronted you about somebody, you changed which Tia it was. Why would you tell her you're dating a person named Tia?
She actually called a Tia from, what school did she say? Cedar Grove. And then she said that wasn't a Tia. So she reached out to several Tias.
Okay. But you had told her you were dating a Tia?
No, I didn't.
So why would she come up with that?
I have no idea.
You think that's weird? That you live with a Tia and she thinks you're dating a Tia?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
She sent several texts saying that she talked to the Tia, which was a coach from a math teacher from Cedar Grove. And then she said that she called two other Tias trying to find who I was quote unquote dating.
Okay.
But I hadn't been dating for a good minute because I tried to work it out with her and it didn't work. So she got upset.
All right. So she said.
Now this sounds like a big bag of lies if you ask me. This man was out here trying to be a full-on Casanova. He was trying to date this chick, and your chick blowing.
Yeah, if your chick had the name Tia, it was over. He was on her head.
Right. And you're living with this woman and her husband, and then you tell another woman that you're dating. What's it? Child, let's continue. Right, a messed up alibi.
And the email that she sent, that was in May of last year. There's also an email that Tia sent you where she's talking about everybody at work hated her, and when she said her reputation was ruined, she's a homewrecker, and everybody's talking about her at work, and that she's like, what did I do to deserve all this? You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
You do? What was that about?
Zena thought it was Tia, and she started harassing me.
Well, Tia says this was coming from work. Like the people with Tia was working with at Emory were calling her a homewrecker.
From what Zena said, she said that she found another Tia that worked at the hospital.
Okay.
But she had reached out to several Tias, so she said that she was going to call every Tia she could.
All right. So Tia reached out to you a lot to talk?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Now, this is my thing. This is where things go horribly wrong. If a man couldn't keep a secret about y'all dealing with one another, why would you plan a crime this nefarious with him? Also, what was up with Xena? Why was Xena so enamored, so stuck on Tim Harvey Lee?
I can tell you one thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying I'm I don't care about talking down on this guy, but I can tell you what, the manipulator in this situation was definitely Tia, and Harvey was the Harvey Lee. That's his name, right? Not the Harvey Lee is
Yes.
his name. Harvey was the fall guy. He was the simp. She was
Was
going
he?
to use him, and she's going to use him and blame it all on him. That's the way I see it.
It's funny because I see it as he was an opportunist. This was his opportunity. Look at him. He's living with other people because he's not being an adult and being responsible for his life decisions, his bills, his home. He's playing games with this woman, Zena, to the point because no woman is just simply stalking down other women unless there is some type of relationship going on. He's playing
No,
games. Go ahead.
go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
He's playing games. He's, using that willy any which way he can to get an opportunity for a come up.
I'm gonna tell you like this. You see how he being a blabbermouth right now. He think that he playing a game with the police, right? And I can tell you right now, all she got to do is play the victim. He's not smart enough to devise a plan like this. He's not. Yes, is he an opportunist? Of course he is, but he's not the mastermind behind this. He's just the fall guy because he is stupid enough to go along with it. First of all, you're stupid enough to think that you was about to move into another man's house and take his woman. But unfortunately for you, it worked. It's just that your intentions and her intentions did not line up. You was just trying to be a gigolo. She was trying to get a payout.
But this is the thing. At the point that the conversation started to steer to other women calling the job, other women knowing about their private affair. If she is the mastermind, which I do believe to a degree that she is, I would never plan a crime to this degree with someone that couldn't hold water. That makes her just as dumb as him.
Yes, it does. But a fool leading the blind, when it comes down to it, they'll still end up going in a circle, no matter how long it takes them. So she may have been a mastermind behind this whole thing, but he was still the fall guy. Now, as far as other women contacting the job and stuff like that, that's just because he don't know how to keep his mouth closed. And if he couldn't keep his mouth closed about her, which I can guarantee you, he probably couldn't keep his mouth closed about what happened to him. But even more so, she needed him to be the fall guy. Unfortunately
Right.
enough for both of them, everybody's not stupid like them.
Right, but that's the point. And in my opinion, in order for somebody to be the fall guy, they have to keep secrets. This is not a person that's trustworthy to any degree or measure. But let's continue.
So, like I said, when I remember that we had your phones before, I told you we can get everything that's deleted, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So in that, obviously I have those emails. I have all those emails that Tia had sent you, okay? And in those emails, she talks about yours and hers relationship and talks about how good you are sexually.
From Tia?
Mm-hmm.
Now, why he sounds surprised? From Tia? From Tia? Oh, no. I don't understand why people think that if you delete an email, if you delete a Instagram message, if you delete a text message, a phone call, a picture, that is deleted off your phone. It's not. It's deleted to the naked eye, but it's always to be able to be found through forensics.
Metadata is a hell of a thing.
It is. It's so sexy. And look at him. He's shocked like, oh, she said I was good. So can the man read? Because if he didn't read Zena's emails and he didn't read Tia's emails, I'm perplexed. Let's continue.
So that's obviously my issue here, is that everything shows that you guys were having some kind of relationship. So I just want you to tell me why. And I know you know these were sent to you and you read them, because it shows us whether you opened it or not.
For a minute after this, Tim goes into a...
Got him. Yes, ladies and gentlemen. Even if you try to act like somebody sent you something and you didn't receive it, newsflash. There's metadata that shows the time and date you opened it. It's a package receipt. Fatality. Finish him.
That's what happens. That's what happens with these devices. Oh, I didn't see it. Oh, you didn't? Amazing. Then we pull the metadata, and see, not only did you receive it, you seen it, and you replied to it. See how that worked, Jake? But now you're in the bind, because that this lie that you've been living, it ain't working no more. And now they're gonna put the truth in front of you. Now you got to respond to the lie. I'm sorry, now you got to respond to the truth that you've been putting lies on top of. Stupid.
Exactly. Dummy. Oh, let's continue.
State of pure shock as he continues to read his conversations with Tia. If you look close enough, you can almost see his soul leaving his body. Unfortunately, what he says next brings this interview to a screeching halt.
So tell me, why are you lying about it?
I like the exercise, not right now. Plead the fifth.
There it is, right there.
Do you want
Now you want to stop talking? You've already said too much. You've already said too much.
Should have pleaded the fifth from the beginning. How long he been in this interview? About 10 minutes so far? You should have pleaded the fifth at the very beginning, idiot.
Look, as soon as they told him about the emails with Zena, he should have said, oh, heck no, let me back on out. But now we get into the meat and potatoes, ladies and gentlemen. Strap in.
to continue this conversation? Or you just don't want to talk about this?
If I can go, or if I can contact my own attorney.
Okay. Do you have an attorney?
No.
Okay. All right. Let me talk to her right quick, and then we'll work on that. Okay.
By pleading the fifth, Tim invoked his right to have an attorney present. But that doesn't matter anymore, as officers have determined that Tia and Tim's relationship was far more than platonic. Now with the evidence stacked against Tia, they call her in for an interview. If they can prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that she was complicit in the murder, both she and Tim will be living the rest of their lives behind bars.
Hey, wait.
Yeah.
It's cold in this one.
It is.
It's burning up down there. Ugh. So, like I said, the reason I brought you back in here today is I have follow-up questions. I kind of want to go over it again because that's just at the point that we're at now. That's been a couple months. Sometimes bringing people back in and going over the story helps us find if there was something you didn't remember the first time. The thing is with it, the first time we talked and then you came up here and then we talked to you at the house, and I understand that there were some issues with that. It had gotten pretty confrontational, I guess, the way that some people had talked to you, right, at the house?
Yes, very.
Okay. One of the things is that when we bring people in over and over, obviously I know that because of the things we were going, because of the suspected relationship between you and him, because of all of those things, you were listed, as a suspect, but you knew that, right?
I found out through, yeah.
Okay. You found out through where?
Mutual Omaha. They sent me.
Oh,
they sent
okay.
me a letter every month.
Oh, okay. So because of that, like I said, I want to go over this with you again today and ask you this, but because we've already kind of come at you hard and talked to you and all that kind of stuff, and I just did the same thing with Tim in there. I have to talk to you. is that I'm gonna have to read you your rights, okay? You know, I don't have a warrant for you right now or anything like that, but to continue talking, because it's the fourth time I've talked to you, I have to read it to you, okay?
Okay.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to talk to a lawyer and have him present with you while you're being questioned. If you cannot afford to hire a lawyer, one will be appointed to represent you before any questioning if you wish. If you decide at any time to exercise these rights and not answer any questions or make any statements, or you can decide at any time to exercise these rights and not answer any questions or make any statement. Does that make sense? You understand that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pause.
You sure?
Ladies and gentlemen, anytime the police lead off with your Miranda rights, just know you're through. That's all you need to know. You're through. Ain't nothing else to be said. They got you. Now, you can help them make their case stronger if you want to. They're going to say, well, you can help us out. You can make things easier. No. He said, this is the fourth time we've talked to you. We have to read you your Miranda rights. Incorrect. They only read you your Miranda rights when it's over for you. Like that man said in that video, you got one more time and you're through. No, they read you your Miranda rights and you're through. Go ahead.
Now, the still of this video is everything. Just look at her. Just look at her. This is not an attractive woman, ladies and gentlemen. Bevo Lottie got more head than she got body. She had a very attractive husband. Her husband was working hard to take care of her and their children. This is an ungrateful woman that took advantage of the trust, the love that her husband had for her, sleeping with another man in his home. And as we dissect this interrogation, you will become disgusted. This is one of the most heinous villains in Villains Unveiled. She played the role of a doting, loving wife. She played the role of a victim. And her intentions were extremely nefarious. In any event, let's continue.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I was talking to him, and he said that you still hadn't found a job, right? Okay. How's that been?
I just not gotten any calls
Okay.
for anything.
Are you just applying for like medical positions or?
Mostly doctor's office and hospital.
Okay.
I've had a few coworkers trying to help me get on at their facility, but the fact that I was terminated in September, that doesn't help when they go to check a reference.
Okay. Did they not give you the option to resign, or did they terminate you before you ever
No,
got?
I wouldn't even. They terminated me on my day off.
Oh yeah.
By phone.
By phone? They called you or they texted you?
They called me.
I was about to say, if they text you, that's pretty. How are the kids doing?
My older two are doing fine. They seem to kind of go on through life like nothing has ever happened. They don't talk to me much about it. I have to try to talk to them, and it's like pulling teeth. They told me a few weeks ago it's just easier for them to act like nothing ever happened. My oldest one doesn't even like to see mail or anything with George's name on it. He's asked me to please keep stuff out of eyesight range. It doesn't bother my middle one to see stuff, but it does really bother the oldest one. The baby boy is having the hardest time. And I don't know if it's because of his age or what, but me and him are grieving, I think, the hardest. The older two seem to just, my oldest one is in school, plays sports, works. So he's hardly ever home. He tries to stay extremely busy. So I guess he says when he's sitting idle, that's when his mind just kind of goes all over the place. Okay.
And the oldest one, is that Dylan? And is he working?
Yeah.
Okay.
Food court in Mall, Georgia.
Okay. Which restaurant does he work at?
Charlie's Cheesesteaks.
Charlie Cheesesteaks. I don't think I've ever been there. How's your mom doing?
She has her good weeks and bad. The first couple of months was awful for her. Now she has about 2 or 3 bad days a week.
Okay.
But she tries to be strong.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess that's what moms do. That's what I've been trying to do for mine.
Yeah. Has the car situation gotten any better? Or
That's what you've been trying to do for yours. Yet this is not a spoiler alert. We know you're responsible for the pain your children feel. How are you trying to be? Go ahead.
No, good.
How are you trying to be strong for your children when you gave them uniform and you deleted their father? Go ahead.
I wanted to say it a different way, but you said it better. I can't say it no other way than that.
This is disgusting.
Yeah, it's actually really infuriating. Go ahead.
I'm really trying to keep my composure for this one because unlike the uploads, when doing the uploads and using literary references, it's easier to digest and explain. When we're dealing with real life villains, it's a little bit deeper. This is a level of psychopathy that is astonishing. You guys watched her say, I don't know what happened. And the police, and please, we need to have justice for my husband. The level of acting while she was sleeping with the man that shot her children's father at her behest. Let's continue.
using your mom's? I know you had several cars and there was problems with most of them. Is that kind of?
Yeah, the Lincoln, the engine light's been on.
Mm-hmm.
It's broke down several times. The BMW is what my son drives. It's been in the shop at least twice in the past couple of months.
Okay. Your mom still drives her car?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Does Tim still have is it Titan?
Yeah.
Okay. So what I want to do today is just kind of walk back through what you can remember. Sometimes over time, people remember things that they didn't remember the first time. I'll help kind of jog your memory as we go of things that you told me. Maybe you'll tell me something you didn't remember the first time, okay? So just start out that night. I know that you said you had gone.
While her husband is in the ground, her lover is driving a $50,000 truck. Is it a wonder that none of the cars work? That they're back and forth in the shop? We was watching a show earlier today about Melissa Ford and her crying and complaining about the men that cheated on her after she cheated on someone. I think a lot of people are utterly delusional. No good deed goes unpunished, and no bad deed goes without retribution. The fact that she thought she was going to get away with this crime and she was going to live happily ever after. It's that part for me.
And wasn't even going to be truthful and honest with the kids. Let's be real about it. She took the father of these children away. She took their father away. She didn't take her husband away. She took their father away and was going to let them go for the rest of their life, not being honest and telling them the truth. These children, I don't know, I can't remember if it was boys, girls, how many boys, girls, whatever. These children was going to go the rest of their life without truly knowing what happened to their father, only to find out mama deleted them. Go ahead.
And it's sons.
It's all boys?
Sons, all boys.
See what I'm saying?
And the one son was in the 11th grade, one was in the 8th grade, and one was in the 2nd grade. Mm-hmm. You created 3 young men that will rightfully have issues with Black women
Oh,
because of you.
damn. Say that again. Damn. That didn't hit yet.
Mhm. Rightfully have issues with Black women. Because all they'll know is their father provided for their mother to a great degree. And their mother was a whore.
Yep. Mama was
And
a
their
hoe.
mother, right. And their mother was a whore that deleted their father.
They on their way to YouTube.
Let's continue.
Or you were in bed. Were you like in a deep sleep, or were you just kind of sleeping, or what was going on there?
As far as I remember, I was in a deep sleep.
Okay. And then what happened?
I heard 2 loud noises. I wasn't sure if it was firecrackers or what it was.
Mm-hmm.
I sat up on my bed, looked around. My baby boy was still asleep. If I remember correct, I think I went to Tim's room, but he wasn't there. His light was on.
Mm-hmm.
Then I remember he was downstairs on the computer or a laptop at the table. I don't think I went to my mom's room right away. I think I went downstairs to where he was. And I think as I got almost down to the bottom step, he was coming up.
Mm-hmm.
He asked me, did I hear it? I said, yeah, I heard it. He said, it sounded like shots. I said, I'm not sure if it was shots or firecrackers or what it was, because some people in our neighborhood that are new, they periodically do firecrackers for whatever reason. I think at that point he said he was gonna go get his gun, go up to his room, go down and check, see. I remember him opening the door, shutting it pretty quick, telling me to call 911.
That's when he told you that it was that George was out there. Okay.
And I called 911. The lady goes through the whole thing. What's your emergency? And then I told her that my husband was, well, we heard gunshots and my brother opened the door and said that it was my husband. She needed to know, I think, where the shots were is what she needed to know. And yeah, that's the first thing she asked. I told her I couldn't do it. I couldn't go down there. So she said, is there anybody can look that can? I said, my brother. So he looked, told me what he thought he saw. So I relayed it to her. And then she wanted me to do CPR. I don't know CPR, first of all. And if I did, I don't think I'd have been able to gather myself to do it. I don't know.
This is a woman that works in the medical profession.
I was just about to say that. Don't she work in the medical profession? Girl, I'm sorry. I done got so mad I started messing up my words. I'm sorry.
You're okay. But this takes me back to the episode of Villains Unveiled that I uploaded earlier. Read Othello's words, baby.
Come, swear it. Damn thyself, lest, being like one of heaven, the devils themselves should fear to seize thee. Therefore be double damned. Heaven truly knows that thou art false as hell.
See, when you look at the literature, right, and you apply it in a real world setting, Othello and Shakespeare has long since talked about the whore of a woman. Now I get it, Shakespeare can be a bit hard to digest because it's written in the Old English. But it's so appropriate. Anyway, let's continue.
They could have it on.
Yeah.
It's important to note that Tia did have experience in the medical field, as she mentioned earlier that she was actively applying to medical positions. This meant it was impossible that she did not know CPR and was clearly lying. Unfortunately, this is only the start of her disgusting lies, because as she begins to talk about the murder, her behavior is anything but that of a grieving widow.
Now, here's the question Beloved,
What's up?
would you categorize her as an Iago archetype?
What I yes.
Because I
No,
want y'all.
I wouldn't.
Hmm.
Wait a minute. Would I cast her? Yes. The handkerchief. The sleeping pills. Yes. My bad. For those who's not versed in Othello. Yes. She is definitely Iago.
Now, I want to remind y'all of where she started this journey.
Young spoke with 11 Alive, pleading for the killer to come forward and face justice for killing her innocent husband.
Everybody loved George.
But months after the crime, police say these tears were hiding a deep, dark secret. Young and a family friend,
Everybody loved George, except for you. Let's continue.
So she asked me if anybody could. I asked him, could he do it? He said, yeah. At some point, I remember throwing my phone down so he could talk to the operator. And then at some point, I don't remember. At some point, I went and got my mom. She wasn't asleep. I thought she was. She was in the room with the TV up loud.
Okay. So you were sleeping, you heard these shots, you come down, Tim's sitting at the table. You ask him if he heard that. He's like, yeah, he heard that. Did he go check out the door first, or did he go get his gun first?
If I remember right, I thought he went upstairs to get his gun first, but I didn't actually watch him go in there and get it.
Okay.
I think I remember him going up the steps heading to his room, but I can't swear to it.
Okay. And you were on the platform? Catwalk. Oh, you were upstairs? On the catwalk thing?
Yeah, by the time he went down to check on George, that's where I was standing.
So he goes outside, he opens the door, he sees it's George. And I know at some point he put his gun up. When did he do that?
I don't know. I don't know if it was after. I don't know if it was after emergency people got. I don't know. I really can't be honest. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Okay. So he goes outside. At some point, he puts his gun up. He sees George, and he tells you, "It's George" and whatnot. And then is that when he tells you to call 911, or did you ever go down to the door, or no?
No, no. I never went to the door.
Okay.
I stood up at the top where you could see over the thing.
Okay.
All I could see was like his feet and legs on the door.
Okay.
It's unclear whether George was shot from inside or outside the home. However, considering that the only firearm in the area belonged to Tim and that George's legs were facing the inside of the house, it's likely that the gun was fired from the inside as he fell backward, presumably by Tim, as both he and Tia admit to the presence of this weapon. Additionally, if we take into account the time it would have taken for all of this to happen, it doesn't make sense. This is because one of the neighbors clearly witnessed Tim going to the car and removing a tracker after the gunshots. The most logical explanation is that Tim had been tracking him for ages using this, and once he killed George so Tia could get the insurance, he rushed to get rid of it. This is why officers are about to question her regarding this, as they need an answer for Tim's odd movements and his intentions.
So,
and just like Iago, her motives are unclear. Just manipulating for the sake of manipulating. Just dissatisfied for one reason or another. Because if your husband is doing security for Little Yachty, I'm going to assume you're living at least a middle-class lifestyle.
Yeah.
She had... Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was agreeing with you.
Yeah, she had lost her job in September, but this happened in November, which means your husband was holding it down, POP.
For you and them kids. But even more so. Oh, Iago. Honest Iago. Go ahead.
No, I'm laughing at how you said that. y'all have to understand, we do things like watch Shakespearean plays and stuff like that together. So this is just coming on the heels of that. It's quite intriguing. But did I tell you that his legacy lives on?
Of course it does. But you know, I hate the Moor, and it is a thought abroad that twixt my sheets he has done my office. I know not if it be true, but I, for mere suspicion in that kind, will do as if for surety. Because see, Iago was a bad, cunning, dangerous MFer. The problem was, Iago got caught by the very thing he tried to portray Othello's wife to be. But for those who don't know too much about Othello, you need to go read it. It's a really good read. And go watch the movie. But just like
And
this one here. Oh, go ahead.
you forgot one. And go check out the last episode of Villains Unveiled. The link is in the bio. But go ahead, babe.
No, you good. Go ahead. Play the video and check the back shot.
One of the things that I wanted to talk to you about, obviously, is I've talked to Tim, and one of the things that, I was be honest with you in the beginning, issues with him is, we had talked to you, and you had told us what you had told us, and there was, I won't say there was much to that, but Tim just seemed, there was a lot more confrontation going on with him during the first interview and talking to him the day that you guys came up there, because of that whole tracker thing, which you said you didn't know.
Yeah, George came to me about it, but like I said, I never knew it was actually purchased and the whole time. But.
Okay, so did you know the night that happened before whatever was going on with you and Tim that he had gone and retrieved that off the car?
No, not until you told me.
Okay,
I think it was in my house here on the 18th.
So what do you think about that? I mean, why?
Well, when you said it, I was floored because, like I said, first of all, I didn't even realize the tracker was ever purchased. And then when you told me that a neighbor, somebody saw him take it off, I found it really strange, and I even asked him about it later.
And what did he
I
say?
didn't ask him about it that night. He said with what George had going on or whatever about, remember when I told you the guy who came to him, he said he just didn't want, I guess, George, I think he said he just didn't want George being exposed in a bad light or something like, I don't know, something like that. But I haven't asked him anything about it since.
Did you feel like that was, and I just want your opinion on it, because I'll tell you how it looks to us. Do you think that was weird that in the moment that his friend is laying out on the front porch bleeding out, his first thought is to go to the car and pull that off instead of rendering aid to George?
Yeah, I found that weird. And that was before he did CPR?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I found that strange.
Weird. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, obviously I do. That's why I want to know. Yeah. We asked him, and he admitted that he went and did it, and he didn't have a good answer. He didn't really have an answer as to why. He said he didn't want you to find it or the family to find it, and they would know. But I said it's under the car. Who's going to look under the car? That's weird.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Now, the thing that I find intriguing about this is your boyfriend had a tracker on your husband's car because you two were tracking his every move.
They've been plotting for forever.
Right. Y'all wanted to make sure that you would be able to do whatever you wanted to do and know when he's coming home, when he's not coming home. This was not happenstance. This was not an accident. This was very much on purpose. You sitting there like, right, sure. Anything to save your own skin. Do you have anything else you want to add, honey?
I was reading Tootie Buzz comment, and it kind of sheds a little bit more light on this whole entire situation. Because how much do you really have to? How much do you not care for your children to take the steps that you took leading up to getting rid of their father and then going through it? to the point to where you putting a tracker in this man's car and you are having an affair with the man that he entrusted to be in his home, who he gave grace to and gave space. He blessed him. And so you took this man, you took your husband's blessing and participated in an affair with him, ended his children's relationship with their father by taking his life. You're a sad piece of work.
Every day. Well, let's continue.
Well, let me just ask you: do you think that have you ever felt that he may have been involved in this in any way?
I don't. I mean, I know that part of it doesn't add up at all. But I personally, the only reason I don't, well, not the only reason, but I just never seen any beef between the two of them at the house. I've never heard George, and me and George had a really good relationship as far as he would tell me about stuff that went on, or he got into it with somebody at Ackerman or whatever. But he never mentioned to me ever that they had a beef, disagreement. Like I said, even Tim had went to him several times about, I can go ahead and leave now. You gave me 6 months. You told me I had 6 months. George came to me. You want him to go? Are you cool with it? I mean, it's a help to us because he's paying rent. And then at the end of the year, he came to George again. Do you want me to go? And George came to me and was like, what do you think? Because I'm cool with him being here. I go out of town so much, I feel better with him. So it's like George never let on that ever that he had a beef or was threatened or scared of him, or I just never witnessed anything. And the kids haven't, and as far as I know, my mom hasn't. So I just that part doesn't make sense.
Do you think he was jealous over the position that he wasn't making as much money as George?
I don't think it was that, because he was making good. Like George started him, I think, at 23 an hour. I think it was 23, and his first raise was up to like 26. So I don't think it was that. And I know there's been several times George couldn't make payroll, and he had to go to David and Tim and, can I give you half or 1,000 and I pay you the rest? And they've always said yes, every time. He's never come back and told me, oh my God, Tim is hot or David is pissed. And then he's borrowed money from Tim before. And Tim told him, pay me back when you can. He's fixed my car several times because George didn't have the money, neither did I. And he just told George, pay me when you can. It's fine.
Now, your husband making all the money as a security officer for young Yachty, and he had to ask
Lil Yachty.
Whatever, whoever he is, he had to ask the man that had to live in his house for money. Somebody make it make sense.
Yeah, some don't add up. If he working for Lil Yachty, anybody that know that he love, anybody who know who Lil Yachty is, Lil Yachty got money. So if you his security guard, you paid, you taken care of. So let me get this right. Now I'm on the same boat as you, baby. Let me get this right. You've been with your husband for quite some time. He's been doing the security guard thing for who knows how long. But he's been working for Lil Yachty. Probably has some other security experience, right? So your husband moves in his friend who's struggling on hard times. But his friend just happened to have money laying around to loan to your family, to your husband, instead of getting him his own place, or go getting him a hotel, or go getting him his own apartment, or going to his family house. You never asked yourself why you said what you said when you said it out your mouth? Why are you trying to defend the man who is not your husband? Something ain't right.
There's something not clean in the buttermilk. Also, for those of you that don't know, that don't have life insurance policies, in order for you to get $1 million life insurance policy, you have to have $1 million worth of income. They don't just give you $1 million policy. Let's continue.
And to my knowledge, George has paid him back every time.
Okay.
Now I know this last time, I think the last time I got it fixed was in October. That was a transmission. I think it was like over $2,300. I don't think we finished that debt off yet. I think we gave him maybe 13 of it.
Mm-hmm.
But George was in the process between the two of us paying it back.
Okay.
But that's the only part I don't know. If I had something to go on, something I've seen, it's just nothing.
Okay.
From what Tia claims, it's almost as if the relationship between her, Tim, and George was perfect. There were no disputes, and everyone was happy. But the $1 million insurance was likely something that Tia and Tim were eyeing for ages. This was something that was corroborated by David, Tim's best friend, who stated the two were planning to kill George and take the money. This is something that officers are about to confront her with.
Okay, so after talking to him, and I've talked to David multiple times, and then I talked to Tim again today, okay? I tell you right now, I have a whole lot of stuff that points to Tim had something to do with it, okay? And I know him and David were good friends and some stuff was going on. I went over there and just talked to him now. And obviously you guys knew you were coming up here and I wanted to follow up with him, but that's because I knew I was going to talk to him about the stuff that I had found, okay? I'll say that conversation went pretty quickly, okay? There's not a whole lot that he was going to be able to deny, okay? So I'm telling you that the investigation shows that he had something to do with it. The interesting part, though, is that he implicated you in it. He said you guys were in a relationship and that you were the mastermind behind all of this, and it was your idea because you wanted the $1 million life insurance policy,
That's
and he could take over George's job, and you guys would be set to be together. And that was the whole deal.
Well, I can tell you that's a lie. That's a lie.
So I want to hear from you the truth and what was really going on, because if that's what he's telling me and I already know he's involved, you see how that makes it look?
Yeah, but that's bullshit. I can tell you that's bullshit.
Okay, well tell me.
First of all, like I said, I don't know that he's involved. I don't know anything about what happened that night. Nothing.
Well, listen,
I didn't even know the policy was any good until me and Rob called a couple days later.
Okay.
So first of all, I'm used to struggling. Mm-hmm. Me and George have struggled.
Wrong again. Spouses are usually inclusive to know what is happening on that level of policy. Liar, liar, pants on fire. How does one's husband get $1 million policy and the wife knows nothing about it? You didn't know it was good, so you're not aware of how your husband pays bills, but you know that he doesn't have money and he has to borrow money from your friend?
From his friend.
Right.
From his friend that he moved into the house. His friend that you've been plotting this whole entire thing with. But it was amazing to see her church eyebrows raise up when he said, oh, he implicated you in it. Oh, yeah, let me see how she reacts.
Entire marriage financially. Mm-hmm. I would never hurt or take anybody's life for no money. Mm-hmm. And like I said, first of all, I know at one point George had $1 million one, a 450, and then I had a 250 on me. Mm-hmm. I knew he had at some point dropped mine. Mm-hmm. I didn't know he dropped the 450 until me and Rob started our calls and found out one was no good and the other one was. Mm-hmm. But him taking over the business, I know nothing about that. Okay. That was never a discussion we had.
One of the things that Ivy said was you told her that there was the $1 million policy way earlier last year.
Who?
Ivy.
Me and Ivy have never discussed an insurance policy, never. Now George told me at some point that Ivy knew about it. Him and Ivy were very close, and she used to work for George remotely from Myrtle Beach. She could log on and do work for him. Mm-hmm. So at one point, I don't know, I think it was a couple of years ago, mm-hmm. he said that an email that I guess the insurance company sent him, Ivy saw it, or I don't know, she could access I think she could access his massive email. And so he told me, he said, now Ivy knows about the insurance, policies that we have, but me and Ivy would have always been close. Mm-hmm. I was closer to her than any of the other ones. So when he mentioned to me that she knew about it, I was cool with it. I mean,
wait a minute, she just flip-flopped like 4 times in the last 2 minutes. I thought you didn't know about the insurance policy. Now you know about the insurance policy? Wait, I thought you didn't know that Ivy knew about it. Now you're saying that Ivy knew about it and that your husband talked? I thought you didn't know about it. Mm-hmm. Huh? She's so damn nervous. She's tripping. She's literally tripping over her own words in real time in a fraction of 2 minutes. Go ahead.
It gets deeper.
That's fine. We were close, so I didn't care that she knew. But like I said, I knew he had a policy, but I didn't know it was active because I knew
You
he had
just
dropped
said.
one, I don't know, earlier last year. So I didn't know if any of them were any good.
First of all, you just said that you didn't know about a policy. Then you said that Ivy knew about the policy. Now you saying that you didn't know that Ivy knew about the policy. Then you turned around and said, well, you knew that Ivy knew about the policy. You didn't care that she knew about the policy. Then you turned around and said, me and Ivy was really close. Now you're saying, I didn't know if any of them were good. Which one is it?
Here's the thing. As you are, in your homes with your families, you're working out, the finances and what have you. You're paying bills. So you know what the lick hits for. Like, come on now, let's be serious. I know all the bills that mine pays. He knows all the bills that I pay. Because we are in each other's finances. How would you not know how much money your husband is spending on life insurance policies? Oh, because you were too busy laying up underneath the next man. I understand. Let's continue.
I didn't.
Okay.
So no conversation ever went on about no insurance, him taking over no business, and none of that. That's bullshit.
Okay.
I don't even know why he'd say that because that never happened.
I guess obviously the concern is I'm telling you the thing with him is he got the tracker. He got it. He had tried to put some apps on George's phone before then, and he said George knew about those. I know for a fact George didn't know because I have his text messages where he explained to George that it was Xena, that Xena was trying to do that to him. But I know for a fact they only were signed up through his phone because I could tell that he did that. So he was trying to find ways to track George, and George didn't know it, which is why I have a hard time believing about him knowing that the tracker was going to be on the car because he didn't know about the other stuff on the phone. Because why would you explain to him Xena did it and explain it away if he knew that's what you were trying to do? You would just tell him, this is what I'm doing. Because when he downloaded those apps, it sends a notification to the person you're trying to track. So George was like, why am I getting this notification? You're trying to track my phone. And he said, oh, well, Xena's been trying to track me, which is not true.
Okay, yeah, this is new to me.
Also, he was looking at that app for the tracker, which in his words is only supposed to be in case something was going to happen to him, to find the truck, not him, which is weird that you're only worried about the car and not him. And if he was looking at it from the day that he bought it on the 6th, he was looking at it every single night. And he was looking at it the night before George came home.
You saw the night of the 16th?
Mm-hmm.
You might as well tell.
Okay, so the tracker sends a message to his phone? I mean, I'm confused.
Okay, so a couple of days prior to the murder, earlier in the month of November, he tried to download these apps on your phone, just like an iPhone app or a Samsung Android, I'm not sure that one works, where you can track somebody's phone. Well, when you do that, you're not allowed to do that without their permission. So when you put in that person's number that you want to track, it sends them a notification. I have it on George's phone where he got the notification and then asked, Tim, why am I getting this? And he said, oh, Xena's trying to track me because of stuff going on with her. Don't worry about it. I'm sorry about it. But I know for a fact he signed up for it because it came to his email through his phone number that he signed up for it. He has to download the app on the phone. So you see what I'm saying? So George didn't know he was trying to track him. Otherwise, he would have been like, hey, I'm tracking you because we talked about this before, remember?
Oh, okay. I see.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Then he got that actual tracker and was using it, the one he put on the car.
Okay.
He was looking at that one on his phone.
Okay.
We had the app, and I can show every time he opened it, every single night from the night that he bought it up until the night of the murder. And he was looking at it the night of the murder before George got home. So he knew when George was going to be home because he was watching him on the map.
Tell the truth.
Okay, so
Don't follow on Jesus now. Tell the truth.
So did
And before
so
that,
did somebody
he
he had somebody do? I'm lost.
That's what I'm asking you.
Hell, I don't know.
Now you're confused? Maybe these two numbnuts have not realized yet that the police have all the communications between the two of you. So every time he checked on it and he told you, and you checked on it and you told him, they have a trail of that. You've left a digital footprint. Whoopsies.
Not only that, you elevated it. You elevated it to a point to where it's easily identifiable. Just because you are ignorant of the information that if you put a tracker on someone's phone, that they're going to get a notification. Just because you're ignorant of that does not mean that you're not implicit of it. That information is indicative to how it is that you went upon these steps to get rid of your own husband and how you use his best friend so that you can collect a $1 million life insurance policy. But more so, you took the devious route of taking these sons' fathers away just so you can collect on money on an insurance policy that you swear up and down you didn't know about at first. But 2 seconds later, now you know everything. Hey, MJ. It's diabolical. It's sick. It's not even cunning. It's not even smart. It's disgusting. It's disgusting the length that you went through just to remove your husband from this earth for $1. Let's continue. Appreciate you, MJ.
Yes. Punk hoe. And then you playing, but it's the playing stupid for me. It's the what? Who? How? Where? Why? What?
I have no idea.
Before that, he was researching all kinds of poisonous things online. He researched black mamba venom, which is the most venomous snake in the world. You cannot buy their venom online like he was trying to over 27 times. That's how many times he looked it up to try to find. He tried to find the venom, then he tried to find breeders where he could buy the snakes himself. You see how that looks? And then a week later, you buy a tracker to put on his car, and then I know that you're looking at it the night of the murder. And the first thing you did, instead of helping your friend, was run out to the car and take the tracker off. Who does that? You know what I'm saying? In front of a jury, when you look at that, say, what would a reasonable person do? No reasonable person would jump over a dead body or somebody who's dying to go pull something off a car. That would be the last of their worries.
Right.
So that's my question to you. Now, the problem is that now he's bringing you into it.
I have nothing to do with it and know nothing about it.
Nah, you do. Because you gave them children unison.
Exactly.
On the night that your husband was dispatched back to heaven. So y'all are punks for real. You try to come up with the least offensive way to delete this man because you didn't want to get your hands dirty. Because that GSR is a hell of a thing. And then trying to actually shoot someone without anybody witnessing what happened. It's pretty impossible to do. Anyway, let's continue.
That's what I'm saying.
So you called the insurance the very next day, right?
The next day or 2 days later, I can't remember.
So it was the next day. And you see how that looks though?
But my mom can tell you if you talk to her. She started bothering me that next morning. Mm-hmm. She said, Tia, you need to, do you have insurance? How are you going to do a funeral or anything? And I said, Mommy, and she could tell you if you call her right now before I can even reach her. I said, Mama, I can't deal with that now. I'll worry about that later. I said, I'm overwhelmed with what just happened. Mm-hmm. And so she kept saying that. And matter of fact, it was her and I'm not sure, it might have been even after George's mom and his sisters.
Why did you want to call the insurance that soon though, the very next day?
That's what I'm saying. My mom is the one that kept telling me I needed to call.
Okay.
She kept
so now it's the mom's fault.
She said, how are you going to do a funeral if you don't know if he has a policy? Mm-hmm. And I said, Mama, I'll get to that in a couple of days. I said, right now I'm overwhelmed with what just happened. Mm-hmm. This was he died on Thursday. This was like Friday. When I had several people, like friends, asking me, do you have insurance? Do we need to take out something for funeral? And I said, my mom keeps bugging me, but I haven't called yet. So then even Rob, when I talked to Rob said, do you know if Cuz had insurance? And I said, I don't know. Mommy keeps bugging me about calling. So that's when Rob said, well, let me look for the policy with you. We'll call together before I leave. Because so that wasn't my first reaction. Like I said, you can call my mom right now and she would tell you. Okay. She was the one egging me on that I needed to call because she was worried about funeral expenses. She knows she only gets $1,300 a month. She knows I didn't have a job. So her big thing was, what are we going to do about a funeral with no money? But after I called, she said it was effective. She said, I'm going to email you the papers I need to fill out. You can isolate it. She emailed them, I think, to me on Friday. I didn't even print them off, I don't think, till like Saturday or Sunday. Mommy kept asking me, have you filled the things out? Have you printed them? If you even call the insurance company, I don't think I sent them the stuff till the next week or a week and a half later. Because I wasn't in a rush because it's like I was too overwhelmed with everything that was going on.
Ma'am, you were trying to shore up your alibi. You were trying to make sure that it wouldn't look like you were thirsty for money.
She was waiting on that. What was the name of the medication that she gave them boys?
Unison.
She was trying to make sure that Unison got out their system. She was trying to come to terms with the guilt that she just did to her sons, to his family, to everybody. She was trying to swallow her pride and say, I got to get myself. You know what? I want to say something very disgusting here. I think she was more nervous about getting the money than she was about taking out her husband. Because she didn't know what she was going to do with that money first.
Yep.
That's how disgusting that this woman, in the middle of this screen, that's how disgusting this woman is. And you were more overwhelmed about what you were going to do with the money that you were going to steal from your dead husband. You was more excited and overwhelmed and nervous about that than you was about removing these boys' fathers.
I mean, it's $1 million we're talking about here. She's never
What's more
seen $1
valuable? What's more valuable, $1 million or a father?
Of course, a father is more valuable, but we're not talking about what's more valuable. We're talking about her actions. $1 million is an overwhelming amount for someone that's never seen that type of money. So she couldn't even properly process her plan down to the last step because the block was she's never had that much money. It's going to make her look guilty if she has that much money. Not the fact that it was something that was due to her or to be able to properly bury their father. She was worried about being caught. That's it. And even trying to blame it on her poor mother. Well, my mom. Your mom is an elderly woman. She didn't know what you were doing. At least I pray she didn't know what you were doing. Child. Let's continue. And then even how she's moving. Like, this looked like a whole dude. I don't understand. Listen, I'm all for everybody with whatever hairstyle they want to do. But listen, if your head is this big, don't cut your hair that short. You need hair to kind of take away from the Frankenstein shape. And yes, I'm being snarky, but I don't care. Let's continue.
But yes, I made maybe 3 calls, I think, to Mutual of Omaha since then. I stopped calling. They told me about, 10, 11, 12 weeks ago, Miss Young, whenever you're cleared or whatever, we will call, send an email, and mail you something in the mail. You don't have to keep calling. I haven't called them since, and it's probably been close to 3 months. So it's not like, I don't keep, I've just wiped it out of my head, and I've told numerous people who have said, did you get your life insurance? A lot of people don't know how much it is. But have you got any life insurance? I said, no, it's still an investigation. I told them I haven't even called.
And one of the other things is that we get these Crime Stoppers tips.
Yes.
And both of these right here have him listed on it that people want us to look into him. You see what I'm saying? So it's one thing after another.
I see what you're saying, but I can tell you I don't know nothing about it.
Okay.
I would never trade my husband's life ever for money. And
Lies. You know which law it is that's stopping her from getting this money, right, babe?
Do I know which what now?
What law it is that's stopping her from getting this money?
No, which one?
The Slayer rule.
Slayer law. Remind me of that again.
Come on now. We just went over this when we watched Knives Out the other day.
Oh, yeah!
Yes.
See, all you gotta do is say Knives Out, and I remember.
Knives Out and Beaks Bloody. The Slayer rule in the United States law of inheritance stops a person from inheriting property from a person they deleted. So she was never going to get this money, ever. The only time it doesn't apply is if it's in self-defense or a justifiable homicide.
Hey, Sister Alman, what's going on? Yeah, I forgot about that. Dang. Yeah, she wouldn't be able to get a penny of it.
Mm-mm.
Oh, rock block head looking at. Look at her.
That's your cousin.
You said what?
That's your cousin.
She looked like the turtle from Super Mario without the shell. That's exactly what she looked. I'm not playing. Look at her.
Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
Yeah, with them whorish hoop earrings on.
Now don't come for the hoop. I can't come for the hoop earrings now. I can't let you come for the hoop.
For what this woman did to hell with her and her hoop earrings, with her CNA shirt on.
Yes. Not apple-headed hussy.
Called her applehead.
Well, where is her mouth though? Where her lips at? Where her lips at? Let's continue. We're being serious. We're being serious today, ladies and gentlemen. Get it together. Hold your mule.
I've made that comment to numerous of family members and friends, and I mean it. I really mean it. Because that doesn't replace him or my kids having a father.
Correct. So why do you think that Tim's going to be doing something like this?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. This is new to me. None of this makes any sense to me.
So you guys were, so what is he, so what about the part where he says that you and him have been in a relationship for a long time?
We have not. We've been in a very close friendship. He's like, we started off like, it's like we're brothers. First of all, it was like he was a stranger when he first came because I haven't seen Tim probably in 15, 20 years since he was young. The longer he was there, because he is very quiet, we became close.
Mm-hmm.
But that I'm not understanding that either. I don't know.
One of the things I talked to Zena, his ex, and she said that she had found out through him that he was seeing somebody named Tia, and that he had been calling around and he kept changing up which Tia it was. And then she called you one day when you and George were at a hotel or something like that and confronted you. Do you remember that?
Oh, that was the most nervous drink of water. Why she got her blood pressure up real quick? Go ahead, babe.
That's why she got that blood pressure up. I promise you, this is why she got her blood pressure up. Okay? It's going out the window. Now that they just brought up how it is that this man has been lying about everything. This is the look. This is the most guiltiest turtle look that you could ever imagine. This is what she looked like. She's not a good actor at all. I promise you, she's not. You look like a fool. You legitly look like a fool. And you know what? Let me go ahead and give this interrogator a hand clap of praise.
Clap of praise, Jesus.
Because he is knocking her down bit by bit. He's slowly feeding her Goomba looking ass. And he is letting her chop down every lie that she can come up with. Now she at the point, listen, she's so dry when it comes to the lies. She out here swallowing water. She getting swallowed up. Replay that when she swallowed that water.
You one day, and then he had been calling around and he kept changing up which Tia it was, and then she called you one day when you and George were at a hotel or something like that and confronted
Gulp.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm. That's the look. That's the look you got when you know I'm in trouble, boss. I'm in trouble. Look, listen. I'm in trouble, boss. They got me.
Since now you got it on petty time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like you and the two. Are you looking at your screen? You ain't looking.
Give me 1 second. Mm-hmm. She looking to the left, right? Yeah, she looking to the. Ooh! Ah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Come on now. There she go right there. Look. 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 Am I...
Let me tell you about a girl I know, and I'm like, fuck you and fuck you too.
I said if I was richer, I'd still be richer. Come on now. Look at her. She look. Listen. It looked like she got a turtle. She missing her turtle shell. Or is that a what do they call that hairstyle? Why is her hair shaped like a block?
Where is her neck? Listen,
What
Linda,
neck?
listen. I'm tired of you no neck chicks, okay? Listen, if you don't have a neck, I'm gonna need you to do a water fast all 2025 until your neck pop out. Okay? If you don't have a chin, I'm tired of y'all with this massive underbite and these recessive chins. Go to the dentist, get that fixed. All right. You know what? We starting to get on petty time and we're being serious. Let's continue.
you. Remember that?
She didn't call me in Georgia. She called my job. She called my the job, the hospital that I work at, and asked me some questions. She asked me, was I Tia? She didn't ask Young. She said Tia. It was another last name she asked me. I can't remember what the girl's name was. And I said, no, but I'm Tia Young. And she said, do you know Tim? I said, yeah, Tim lives with us. So she said, oh, she said, so you're George's wife? I said, yes, I'm Tia Young. She said, do you know anything about a Tia, whatever the girl? Anyway, the girl worked for DeKalb County. She was a teacher or a band coach or something, I don't know. So she asked me some questions, and do I know anything about Tim and messing with this girl Tia who worked for DeKalb? I said, no.
Okay. Do you know a Christy Lewis?
I've heard of Christy. I think it's one of Tim's friends from Mississippi or Alabama.
Okay. Because it looks like, I don't know. He was emailing her back and forth.
Oh, did you catch?
He said,
"Ooh, did you catch it? Do it again. Go back 5 seconds. Watch your eyes. Watch your eyes. Go back 5 seconds and watch your eyes. Just watch. Just watch."
He said, I apologize for everything. I don't know. He was emailing her back and forth.
Right there. Her
what
neck.
You mad for?
Did you catch it? You caught it too, right? Her
she
neck.
Real stink.
Listen, that thing was just. You could smell the stink through your phone. Hey, listen, if y'all smell y'all phone right now, you can smell the stink coming up off of her. That's how mad she is. Give your phone a big old whiff. It's gonna stink. It's gonna stink like this right here. Oh, she mad. I can't argue with you. You big man. Look at her. Go ahead, baby.
Child, listen. How are you mad that your side dude got side chicks, but you married to somebody? Ma'am, I smack you.
I said my
smack
side dude got a side dude.
Let's continue.
He said, I apologize for everything. I wish all this could stop, but I feel like I'm going to end up dead over all of this. Sorry for getting you involved.
Yeah, I never met her. I know he has a best friend, close friend named Christy.
Well, they've been talking more than that. They've been talking romantically through the summer of last year.
Oh, okay.
There's another girl named Candy. Do you know Candy?
I've heard of Candace. I think that's a girl. Well, he had a girlfriend named Candace. I think that he dated here, but then there's one from Myrtle Beach, I think.
Wait, Paul.
She lives in Stone Mountain.
I thought she didn't know too much about George. I mean, not George. Damn. How you know all these people?
She know all the juice, all the tea.
How you know your husband's friends' exes? Y'all don't think I be listening. I be listening.
Well, not their exes, the currents. The way it's given, they be laid up in the bed together. He be doing push-ups on her body and fielding text messages and phone calls from Candace and Christy.
With one leg up.
Look, she tried to act like she wasn't hurt too. Look at her face. She like, nah, I'm not hurt. I'm tough. I'm
a thug. I'm a real thug.
Baby, cause I'm a thug. All day, every day. Looking like damn CeeLo Green. And it's all about a girl I know. And I'm like, child, let's continue.
The Candace that I know lives in Georgetown, Myrtle Beach.
This one may have moved.
Could have.
But he was talking to her last summer too.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, I know he's got an ex named Candace and then a girl from Myrtle Beach who used to kick it with named Candace. Mm-hmm. None of these girls I've ever met.
Okay. So, what do you say about the whole him saying you and him have been in a relationship? I know I just asked you that, but why would he just come up with that to say that?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I have no idea. Yes, we were close. Like I said, very, very close. And since George has died, we've come a little closer, but I think it's more so because he has, I mean, my boys really look up to him because my kids, we don't have any family. Mm-hmm. They don't have any uncles. George has one brother that they met for the first time when George died. So they don't have any male figures. So
the first time George died.
So now they call him Uncle.
For the first time when George died, which makes her even more nefarious. Your sons don't have no male role model. And you take their father. Now you got your sons calling your lover uncle. Yeah, I hope them women in jail give you everything you're asking for. Disgusting whore. I didn't want to mess with him because I didn't want the kids to know. Let's continue. Or did you have anything you would like to add to this part, honey?
No. Let me catch some more of these lies. Go ahead.
Tim, my middle son even said to me, and I think I had the text message on my phone a few weeks ago, that he kind of looks up to Tim almost like a dad figure because we don't have any men in our life. You know.
Your son looks up to his father's killer like a father figure. Now, what type of psychological trauma do you think that's going to impart on your 8th grader? About 13 years old, right during puberty. That's enough to make him malfunction. Like, I really wish
I know that you're calling your father's murderer dad. Oh,
dad.
You look up to your father's murderer as a father figure.
Oh. Right. Good old Uncle Tim that killed my dad. Let's continue.
No.
In his phone, he had you saved in his phone as Big Sis. You knew about that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. This is your phone from your phone. Why is he saved under Sonia under your phone, both of his phones?
That's just what I put in. His older sister name is Sonia.
Well, why would you do that though? Unless you, that looks like you're trying to cover up him being in your phone, like you didn't want George or somebody.
Oh no, there's quite a few people in my phone that I don't have under the actual name.
Okay. So one of the things that
let me tell you something. That's whole shit. Men, you listen to me. Your woman has someone in her phone under anything other than their name, a name for another gender, Domino's, Pizza Hut, do not disturb, do not answer, that's whole shit. That's for your benefit. It's not because she doesn't want to have contact with them. Because anybody that you don't want to talk to, you block and delete. I ain't never in my whole entire life known a woman that wasn't trying to hide an affair, put a man's number underneath a woman's name. Women, the same thing goes when it comes to men. If your man has a phone number in his phone as Tom, but every time you hear him on the phone with quote unquote Tom, it sounds like Sally, he's a whole cheater. And a lot of people want to be stuck in Delulu land, the Lulu Pro Max 9000, that's not what that's indicative of. I tell you what. Call back some of them numbers. Press star 67. Call back. You're going to see what they look here for. Let's continue.
Like I told him, is that when we took his phones, we could get everything that was done, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, I was able to retrieve everything that was off of his phone, okay? And so I have all of these emails that you sent him talking about yours and his sexual relationship. You remember that?
Oh, shit. Uh-oh.
Okay.
Much like Tim, Tia took the route of denying her secret relationship. So appropriately, officers gave her the Tim treatment of showing her the sexual texts, which is when you can visibly see her expression change.
But I thought you weren't having an affair.
Uh-oh.
But I thought you and Tim were just super cool friends.
And
With this, the pressure on Tia is at an all-time high, and the detective won't let this opportunity slip from his hands as he begins to make Tia realize exactly the kind of situation she's in.
So this is where we're at, Tia. Okay, I want you to listen to me.
Mm-hmm.
I know what's been going on. I know Tim's involvement. I also know there's a lot more that's been going on here, okay? What I want from you now is to understand all of this, because what it looks like is you're this hateful, horrible spouse that connived with your live-in boyfriend to kill your husband for money. If that's how it is, then that's fine. You can tell me that. But if that's not what happened, then this is your only chance to tell me what was really going on.
That's not what happened.
Then tell me this is your only chance to tell me what's really going on, because everything else looks really bad. And I'm telling you right now, if you put all of this in front of a jury without your explanation of it, that's exactly what they're gonna think.
I did not have anything to do with George's death.
Okay.
And definitely nothing dealing with him wanting him dead for money. Nothing at all.
Okay. So you're willing to let all of that stand in front of a jury?
Yes, as far as having anything to do with his death, yes, I am. Because I know I had nothing to do with it. Nothing.
Okay, but you've been having a relationship with Tim. What has he said to you?
He hasn't never said anything about wanting to hurt George ever or taking over the business. That's why I'm sitting here like, this is new to me. He's never said he wanted to take over Metro Atlanta security. Mm-hmm. He's never told me he wanted George dead. He never said he was going to try to hurt George. Mm-hmm. Never. Not once.
All right. So George got home at...
So here's the thing. Nobody has to tell you they're a psychopath. You are married. You are effing around with your husband's friend. Now you yelling at the police officers like, I never knew. Did you know that you were a whore? Did you know that you were sleeping around in your husband's home? So let's just say your husband came home one day and caught you and your homeboy creeping. What was going to happen then? Hey, just for
I'm still
Curiosity's
here.
sake.
Go ahead. Yep.
What would you do? You know, hypothetically, if you walked into a house and I was in the house in our marital bed with the next man, what would that look
Death.
like? Oh, right. So anybody that is, because the same thing would happen if I walked into our home and you were in our marital bed with someone else. So anybody engaging in an extramarital affair is looking for violent consequences. Would you say that's a fair assessment?
Of course.
Oh, okay. But she ain't know nothing. Let's continue. Matter of fact, is this on HD? Yeah, it's on HD.
At 11:23, okay? And he had just gotten off the phone. And when he got off the phone, he came inside, or came to open the door. And that's when people remember hearing the shots around that same time, too, okay?
Mm-hmm.
The 911 call was not placed till 10 minutes later when you guys called. Now, in that time, I've gone over the story with you multiple times, and you've told me that he opened the door, he saw it was George and all of that. So I can tell you that when I go back and listen to the 911 call, that it is absolutely 100% completely staged. The things you told the dispatcher, you had already done and already said.
No, I haven't. No, I haven't, and I wasn't.
Why not?
Because he told me to call 911, and that's exactly what I did. And everything the lady
And
asked
then while
me.
you're on the phone with her, he says, "Oh, there's somebody got shot." And then he says, "Oh, can you send an ambulance? My brother now says it's my husband that was hit." But you already knew that.
I did. When I made the call.
How do you not know it's your husband?
When he told me to call 911, the lady asked me, I said, I heard some shots. She asked me, I believe she asked me, I don't know, I think she might have asked me, did I know who it is or whatever. I don't remember. I don't remember all the details. But what I'm saying is when I called, it was not staged. I called as soon as I heard.
You didn't call as soon as you heard the shots. And what he's telling you is that he has evidence that you didn't call as soon as you heard the shots because other people, more likely than not, called 911 when they heard gunshots in their neighborhood. See how that works, Jake? When you hear a gunshot in your home, it is quite different than when you hear a gunshot from a distance. I'm going to tell you, New Year's just passed. There was a lot of gunshots. I live in the South. Baby, we were terrified, and we were in the house. So I can only imagine what a gun sounds like going off within the confines of your home. You didn't shoot back. You didn't get access to your weapons. No, nothing. So yes, very much. I would assume it was staged as well. Honey, you're very good with munitions. Does a gunshot sound much larger or much louder the closer to proximity that you are?
The sound of a 22 caliber, a 9mm, a 7.62, a 223, a 50 cal, all sounds different. Sounds nothing like a firecracker. Sounds nothing like an M80. It just doesn't. Sorry. Hell, some people are such good experts that they can tell you the grain of the ammo that is being used just from the sound alone. There's a very distinct sound to it. Trust me when I say this.
Well,
It sounds nothing like a firecracker.
I believe you. Child, let's continue. Let's watch her dig herself deeper.
Shots, went and found Tim. Well, what I thought at first was firecrackers. I wasn't sure what it was. And went and found Tim. And he checked and told me whatever the time frame was to call 911. That's what I did.
Okay.
Nothing. I did not stage the conversation or any of that.
Okay. Well, talk to me about this then. How did this happen? How did you guys enter into this relationship while he's living in the house behind George?
I don't remember when it. I don't remember exactly when it started. I think it was around the time that I thought George was messing with the girl Mariah. I never had any real proof. I saw something on his tablet at one point, and I questioned him about it. He denied it. He said, he was not sleeping with her. She was just a secretary for him and Rob. Mm-hmm. I didn't have anything to worry about, but to me, I felt like it was more to it than that.
Okay. So you were pursuing this relationship because even in your emails, it sounds like Tim was trying to cut it off, and you were the one that was continuously talking to him and continuing it, right?
I was hurt about it, yeah, because I found out he was, he had told me he wasn't talking to Zena anymore. Mm-hmm. He wasn't messing with, anybody else anymore. Just kind of got caught in some lies, and I questioned him about it.
Mm-hmm.
Not you hurt because your side dude has relationships that are viable and you're married. Honey, what manner of bullshit is this?
Full bullshit. She thought that they was gonna commit a crime of passion and ride off into the sunset. Y'all's query of murder of your husband was a reason to fall in love, because now you looking at Tim as this big old man because he took out your husband and helped you get this $100. Now let's just be honest. She wasn't jealous that Tim was finding something on the side. She was worried that Tim was gonna open his mouth to them other women. So she needed to keep Tim close by. So when it was time for Tim to meet his end, she can get another fool to do it.
Exactly. Plus, she didn't want anybody to talk him out of it. So let's continue.
Notice how freely she is talking about their hidden relationship while just minutes ago, she was denying it fervently. Because of this, officers have chalked down her personality profile to being a compulsive liar, something which will bite her in the back when she is brought to trial.
So, these messages were in that phone, okay? The day that we went to go do the search warrant, when you called Kim and told her to go get the phone, is this what you were worried that we were going to find?
To be honest, yes.
Well, that's what I want is honesty.
To be honest, yes, I was.
Okay, because this looks really bad.
To be honest, yes, I was very afraid of that part, yes.
And you've been in this house and you've been living with him, and whether or not you guys are in a relationship, I don't know because I'm not in there anymore, but that's what it looks like. And I know that he's not just living in this house and nothing has been said. So if you know something, I need you to explain it to me and help me, because he's going to implicate you and he can take you down with him. Okay? And I don't think you want that. So that's why I'm telling you, what do you know? What has he said? What is going on?
Nothing as far as the murder of Mr. Smith. Nothing. I don't know that Tim had anything to do with it. He has not opened up, confessed nothing to me. Like I said, we discussed the tracker, I think once, and that was the night after we left here, when you told me that somebody said they saw him getting it before they helped George or whatever it was. But as far as the case, we don't even discuss it. Like, there's very few times during the week that we even bring it up. I don't even like talking about it to my mom. I'm trying to move on as far as me and my youngest child. My older two are doing fine. My youngest one is not. So as far as the case, I don't even talk to him much about the case.
Every time that I've talked to you, it's kind of been a different story about what happened that night. And I understand it can be traumatic, but when things like this happen, people don't forget those kinds of things. So that also makes it look like, because what he told me where he saw you that night and what happened was not true. And what you told me that you saw him, it was always different. I just don't understand that. Okay? Obviously him going out and getting a tracker and that kind of stuff, it's just not right. The fact that he had $1 million life insurance policy and you called the next day. One point you told me that you went to wake up your mom and you were on the catwalk with her, and
no, she was never asleep. I never.
Well, okay, no, wait. You went to go get your mom and you brought her on the catwalk with you. One time you said you stood out there, you talked to her. That's what I can hear in the 911 call. The time before that, you said you took her into your bedroom and put her in the closet so she wouldn't wake up your kids.
When she started having a breakdown, yeah, I took her in the closet.
She told me that didn't happen.
She told you what? Did she never?
She told me she never went into your room and went into the closet.
Damn, son. Not you lying. And your people telling how much of a liar you are, babe.
She over there right now in her head, she thinking to herself, snitch ass bitch. That's what she thinking to herself right there. That's why she got that look on her face. She's stumped. She like, oh my God, I can't believe my mama told the truth on me. Maybe you should have tried telling the truth first. Maybe you shouldn't have tried to remove your son's father from their life. Maybe you should have just tried being a faithful wife. Maybe you should have just tried being a better woman. Maybe you should have just tried to leave well enough alone, but you couldn't because you seen that $1 million paycheck and you knew that your husband had to get out your way so you can get to that money. You didn't care who you was going to throw up under the bus. Your mama, his friend, your new lover, your children, anything you had to do to get to that money. Stupid.
Right, you stupid whore. And you could have just simply left if you didn't love him anymore. That's the thing. Ladies and gentlemen, leave. But if you're going to commit a crime, do better than this.
This whole gun running thing, okay, I looked into it. You gave me a totally different story than he did. You said it was some Cuban guy named Carlos. He said it was Terrence Bannerman, the pudding guy that you grew up with. I found Terrence. I know that stuff's not true.
The Carlos guy is
but
true.
why would you tell me Carlos and he brings up some guy? Those are not even related at all.
I have no idea. The only thing I can tell you is about the Hispanic looking guy that came to the house looking for him. And when I didn't call George right away, I didn't even text him. I waited till he got home that night and I told him about the guy coming by. Mm-hmm. George's eyes got real big. He looked at me and I asked him, what in the world is this about? Don't worry about it. Just don't worry about it. It's somebody I got some financial help from. Mm-hmm. Don't worry about it. And then I said, George, you need to tell me because this guy said he means business. Is this something, are you into something that would jeopardize us? What's going on? And he just said something to the fact, he said, I'm just running weapons or delivering weapons or something like that. He said, but you don't need to worry about it.
So then every time after that, when I asked you, is there any reason anybody would want to hurt him? You never mentioned it until we brought it up to you.
Yeah, that night when he was killed, I didn't think of it.
Why would you not think about somebody coming to your house, asking for money, looking for your husband, talking about running guns?
But it was 2 or 3 months before that. I didn't think of it at all.
Okay. How come that most of the messages and phone calls from you and Tim are deleted in your phone, but they're all in his?
What are you talking about? The phones you have? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would delete them. I would periodically delete them. Okay. There's even another coworker that I talked to that I would delete the calls from.
Damn.
All right.
Damn.
You gave your.
Damn. Mm-hmm. Damn, Daniel.
She for the streets.
You for the streets. You was out here putting that. Let me see them titties, baby. That's what she was out here doing. Every man that came across her that was not her husband. Let me see them titties, baby. And you were just out here just throwing them all over. You were just slapping everybody's soul with them things. You nasty, disgusting woman, you.
I just want to know when she decided to plot her husband's deletion. Because that simply was her trying to find an accessory, the muscle. I've seen this crime played out so many other ways that are so much better. These stupid criminals. Let's continue.
Your middle son, the Unison, correct?
Yeah, but I give him, he gets that a couple times.
Yeah, well, he had before, but when we spoke to him, he said he hadn't gotten it in a long time, and that was the very first night he'd gotten it in a long time, and over a month.
It probably been a couple of weeks, I guess.
You see what I'm saying, though? That night, the night that he normally goes out in the middle of the night between 9 and midnight is the night your husband comes home at 11 p.m. and gets killed. That makes it look like you gave it to him so that he wouldn't wake up during that time period. And it's also weird that we're there, the ambulance comes, the police come, we walked in their rooms and went everywhere, and none of them woke up in any of that.
But I asked. Me and my mom both asked everybody that came in the house. My mom, she was the first one that started asking, please be quiet. My grandchildren are asleep. My daughter doesn't want the kids to wake up.
I know, but the ambulance and everybody coming in and out, and none of them ever woke up. And that's the first night.
Did you really think that the police were going to be able to come in and out? All the EMS. Your house is now a crime scene, so a crime scene that has to be processed. You really thought giving your children Unison was not going to make you look guilty? Especially when they don't take it every night? Patterns of behavior. He didn't even ask for it that night. You just gave it to him. Stupid bitch. Hey.
I'm still here. I'm waiting on the B-roll to happen because this stupid.
He got that pill. You see what I mean? That
It's not the first time he had it. That's what I'm saying.
in a while.
It's been a couple of weeks,
Yeah.
but I don't give it to the oldest one and I don't give it to the baby. Well, I've had to start giving it to the youngest one now to be able to get some sleep. Either Benadryl, I give him Benadryl or either a Unisom. He doesn't get it every night, but he can't sleep since George died. But yeah, my middle son is the only one that will walk and pace the house 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and then don't want to get up for school the next day. My oldest one, I don't think I've ever had to give him anything for sleep. But he slept through everything because we were quiet. We asked the police would they be quiet as much as possible. When some guy came around, he had to take pictures of the rooms. I asked him, was there any way he could not go in that room where the
But
boys?
why was that your concern? Even on the 911 call, you tell them don't come lights and sirens. Your husband is laying out on the front porch dying, and you're worried about the kids waking up?
I didn't want my kids to see my husband bleeding to death on the front porch, Mr. Smith.
I understand that to an extent, but I just think you would be worried about him and not, I mean, your kids are going to find out.
I wanted her to send help, but I didn't want her to just, if my kids had saw their dad laying in the front doors dead, I didn't want them to have that picture in their mind. I feel like any mom would have done, just like my mom did it for me when my dad committed suicide in 2007.
Oh, there we go.
Himself in the basement.
There we go. Just like my mom did with me when my dad didn't give me so. So now we got a historical pattern. So you
Now
thought
they're gonna have to.
Now they gotta dig up your daddy's suicide.
Right. Did he hang himself in the basement for real?
Or was your mama a medicine woman?
Is that what planted the seed? Your trauma? Y'all better start getting to know these people that y'all laying up with. Know their traumas. Might come back to bite you.
She let me sleep upstairs and did not wake me up until she was hoping he would be removed from the basement before they woke me up. But I ended up waking up on my own because of the commotion. But that's the same thing my mom did for me, and I was a grown woman, but she didn't want me to wake up and see my dad hanging in the basement. And I was in my 30s when he died.
I don't know, Tia. It doesn't look good. And I'm telling you right now that I have no reason to lie to you because I have all this information to go in there that I went in there and talked to him. And I just went in there with him. I didn't come in here and sit down and talk to him like I did you. I went in there and laid all of this out in front of him. And that's what he told me.
Well, I don't know why he would.
So why would he do that?
I don't know. I guess if he feels like he's going down, maybe he's just gonna try to take me with him. I don't know. I would never imagine him doing that, but that's the only thing I can figure. Because he's never said one thing about one. Matter of fact, it's hard for me to believe Tim even said that. Oh, I'm not calling you a liar, but what I'm saying is he knew, just like Rob knows, the only people who didn't know was George's family, that when George died, this company died. When he died, his alarm license dies with it. Nobody can run Metro Atlanta security once George dies. That's it. Because Ivy thought that was her big thing. Me and my brothers and sisters, we're going to keep the business going. I said, you can't. When your brother passed away, he said that years ago. That's why he wanted Tim, hopefully that Tim and David would one day maybe get their license so they could help run, they could equally run the company. But when George died, the company died. We all knew that. So it's like, that's what I'm saying. It's hard for me to believe he would say that he wanted to take over the business.
Oh, he said it, trust me. And then right here, he's talking to David. The day before he bought the tracker, he says, David says, we need to get a spot. And Tim says, you think? And then Tim says, I got to end this mess first. And then David says, yep, you definitely do. And then the very next day, he buys the tracker.
Well, I know that.
I see that's a very tricky play on words. Number one, David clearly knew about the affair. But number two, David and Tim could have been talking about getting an apartment. He wouldn't have to delete George to get an apartment with David.
I know that he even knows the company can't be ran because neither one of them have an alarm license.
Okay, but what about the $1 million life insurance policy? And you guys being in a relationship, all of that stuff together.
Mr. Smith, I don't never get the million. I could care less. And I voiced that to my mom, my aunts. George's mom can tell you. Mm-hmm. She can tell you. I've been saying it for the past 2 or 3 months because she's worried about it. When are you going to get paid? What are you going to do with the kid? How are you going to? I said, Margie, I'm to the point. I don't give a shit if I don't ever get the money. I'm just tired of all the stress. I just want to move on. This grief, dealing with BJ, dealing with all the things I'm dealing with. I don't give 2 shits about the money if I don't ever get it. I know how to work. That's what I've been doing the past 2 or 3 years, working $15,000, $20,000 of overtime a year. Mm-hmm. I know how to work. So if I don't get it, it's fine. That's why if you call me tomorrow, they can tell you I ain't called in months. Mm-hmm. I don't care anymore. So the money is not an issue for me. I mean, yes, I need money, and we all do need money to live. But if I don't ever get it, that's fine. Matter of fact, I even have the courts gave me. I got his probate, whatever you call it, executive estate paperwork. I think it was like January 25th, maybe. I've only been to one bank to see if there was money in it, and that was Regions. And I knew that's where his paycheck went, his last paycheck went. But well, I think he has a Wells Fargo account. I think he has a Bank of America account. I haven't been to any of them banks with the statements to try to see what's in them, to see if I could get it. I don't care. Even my mom keeps saying, Tia, with the way money is tight around here, why don't you go to those banks and see what he has? It might be something to help this household. I still haven't done. So money, that's what I'm saying, to make this out like I'm doing it for money. Or it's for money.
I'm telling you that's what it looks like, and that's what he's telling me.
Well, that's some bull. I can tell you that. That's some bull. Yes, I will admit, and I apologize for lying. I am very embarrassed about this. I really am. I am.
And you guys are still in a relationship now?
Yes, to be honest, yes. I'm just going to be honest.
Well, yes. That's what I want. Because listen, Tia, I'm telling you this is how it looks, and I keep telling you this. He's going to try to take you down with him. And I'm telling you, when he gets up there and he starts talking about everything and what you did, and you don't have anything to counter that.
Another swallow of water.
Say, no, that's BS.
Big ass swallow, too. God damn.
This is what he told me, or that's right there is going to be a huge issue. You see what I'm saying? Are you ready to go to jail today for this?
No, because I know I'm guilty of this, and this is wrong.
Then tell me, there's no way he's been living under your roof and you've been in a relationship and you don't know that something was happening.
As far as this, you talking about hurting George or having a sexual? No, that part I don't.
Tia,
that part I don't. That part I don't. The part, the affair, I'm very, very embarrassed. I can't tell you how embarrassed I am. I really am. I'm sorry that I never told you.
No, you wasn't. Pause. No. You ain't embarrassed, nor is you sorry. You're not embarrassed nor sorry. You just got caught. That's the only thing you sorry about. That's what you're really embarrassed about. You're not mad that you was cheating. You're mad that you got caught. That's just the truth of the matter. And it took for your husband to die, and thankfully this white man to uncover the fact that you was around here cheating on your damn husband. That's the truth of the matter. And you would look at the lengths that you went to. How many times did you drug your sons to cheat on your husband? How many times did you drug? Here, let me ask the question a different way. How many times did you drug your husband's sons so that you can cheat on their father? Does it hit a little bit heavier when I put it that way?
Facts. And it's not even like she gave the children like melatonin, something that's natural. You gave these children Benadryl and Unisom. That is actually very dangerous to give to children. It can slow their breathing, stop their breathing.
While you getting some trim.
Right. While you getting bent over the kitchen island, your children could be struggling for air.
Well, no. She wanted them to struggle for air because that's what she wanted to do. She wanted to struggle up for air up under Tim. Stupid.
Right.
The first 2 months we did, it started back up around the 1st of March. The first couple of months we didn't. We called it up. We just stopped because I'm gonna tell you the truth, I was afraid that my boys would end up picking up on something is wrong or catching us kissing or something. So we both said the boys have been through enough, and I didn't want to chance them seeing anything inappropriate to send them off, because I'm sure it would hurt them deeply that I'm talking to Tim and Daddy's just not too long ago died. So I think it might have been like the middle of February or 1st of March when we kind of gotten talk, kind of get romantic again. But up until then, no.
Okay.
2 whole months? Lady, and I use that term very loosely. If your children catch you messing with their dad's friend 2 months after he's been put in the ground, does that make it any better? Because remember, we're talking about 2nd grade, so 7, 8 years old, 8th grade, 13 years old, and 11th grade, 16, 17 years old. They looking at you like the vodka whore that you are. Let's continue.
So you don't know anything about
nothing about the crime. I do not know nothing. I have no explanation for that. None. And if, like I said, I can give you a list of people you can call before I even have access to my phone. They will tell you Kim Drayton, Candace Hoover, Trina. I can name 4 or 5 that I've told over the past few months. I don't give a shit if I don't ever get the money. It ain't about, and a lot of them don't know how much it is, but they know I have a life insurance policy. And I told them, I just want this stress to be over. I'm tired of the stress. The money, I could care less. And like I said, my mom will tell you right now, she's pissed because I won't go to Wells Fargo and Bank of America to see what money's in there and take it out. Because she said, Tia, we need it to live. I told her I don't want to deal with nothing. When I get depressed, I deal with depression anyway.
Tia was so depressed that she called her dead husband's insurance company to claim $1 million 1 day after he died. Clearly, she had no kind of solid alibi or defense for all the evidence stacked against her, which is why the detective leaves and returns a short while later to break the news to her.
Hey, Tia. Listen, I went and talked to Tim some more, okay? Obviously his story's not changing, okay? He's implicating you and he's bringing you into this and all that kind of stuff, okay? So unfortunately, you are gonna have to go to jail tonight, okay?
Okay.
All right.
All right. Can I call my mom?
Well, let me ask them to see what they want to do, and I'll let you know right quick, okay? Just wait right here for a second.
All right, Tia, if you can stand up for me, please. Okay. Turn and face the wall. If you want to take off your visitor pass. Okay. Mm-hmm. You don't have anything in your pockets, do you?
No keys.
Your keys? Okay. Where's your cell phone?
It's in the car.
In the car? Okay. If you want to just put your hands on the wall. That's fine. I don't know much about what's going on, okay, but I know if you have anything on you that could be deemed a weapon or anything like that, you could get in more trouble. Yeah. Okay, you don't have anything on you? Not even like a dime bag weed or nothing like that? Okay. Separate your feet for me.
Okay.
Okay. If you want to put your hands behind your back, over your, yeah. I will get you a bag, and put all your property in it.
After Tim and Tia were arrested, many believe that the real ones to suffer in this situation were the children, who neither had a mother or father, nor would they receive the $1 million from the insurance as the beneficiary's trial had to conclude first. There were fears it would take years before the children had money to live off. Fortunately, a GoFundMe was set up to support the children, and just 2 years later, George's killers were brought to justice.
Now, here's the part that makes it disgusting. Y'all ready for this?
Sure,
you ready?
fire away. Sure, fire away.
So I'm not sure if the children have yet to actually get their inheritance. Because as we look at just Tia, I'm going to make this. This is motions and documents in the case. This is modification. Well, it says this opinion is subject to modification resulting from motions for reconsideration under Supreme Court Rule 27, the court's reconsideration, and editorial revisions by the reporter of decisions. The version of the opinion published in the advance sheets for the Georgia reports, designated as the final copy, will replace any prior version of the court's website and docket. A bound volume of the Georgia reports will contain the final and official text of opinion. So they've appealed this all the way up to the Supreme Court. Bae, you read for me. I love when you read legal text.
Decided October 4th, 2022, S22A07. You showing your whole screen? Stop what you're doing right now. Drop your screen. Thank you.
I was trying to like zoom it
I know,
out.
but yeah, you was on something else.
You made me mad.
You still on something else.
I know. I'm going back. I don't think we can zoom it in anymore. So can we download the PDF?
Yeah,
That's better.
Yeah,
That's better. Let's look at this out. Okay. Okay, let's go.
There we go. All right. The Supreme Court of Georgia decided October 4th, 2022, S22A0720, Lee versus the state. McMillan Justice. After a jury trial in 2019, Harvey Lee was convicted of malice murder in connection with the shooting death of George Young on those are footnotes. All right. On appeal, Lee claims that the trial counsel rendered constitutionally ineffective assistance by failing to object to A, evidence of George's good character, B, a photograph of George in life with his children, and C, the presentation of and comments on Lee's silence after he was advised of his rights under Miranda, because Lee has not shown reversible error. We affirm his convictions. The evidence presented at a trial. Wait.
Pause. What the hell does a photograph of George in life with his children have anything to do with it?
Not a damn thing. He listened to jailhouse lawyers. That's what happened. This is what happens when you listen to jailhouse lawyers, right? D Block is setting him up. Then he gonna waste all his appeals.
Now listen, if George would have been the nastiest ninja in the whole wide world, what you and his wife did was disgusting. And the Supreme Court affirmed the conviction. Go ahead, babe.
The evidence presented at trial showed that George and Tia Young were married and lived in Gwinnett County with their 3 children. George worked in security and, in an effort to help Lee, a family friend hired Lee as a subcontractor and allowed him to live in the family's home. Late on the night of November 16th, 2017, George arrived home from work and was shot twice on his front porch. Phone records show that George was on the phone with his co-worker, LaTanya Knowles, while in the car. Knowles.
Like Beyonce?
Yeah. Yeah, I caught that too. LaTanya Knowles while in the car on his way home until the call ended at 11:23 p.m. Knowles testified at a trial that she and George spoke until he said he arrived home and that George did not mention anything out of the ordinary during the call. At 11:31 p.m., Tia called 911, and at 11:40 p.m., police officers arrived to find George deceased, lying on his back on the front porch with his feet facing the door. The autopsy showed that 2 gunshot wounds had entered the front of George's body, and the medical examiner testified that these wounds were the cause of George's death. George's keys were still in the door, and a shell casing was recovered from the front porch. The home had a security system with the camera facing the front door, but the device was not working at the time of the shooting. Very coincidental, huh? George's eldest son testified that the camera had been broken for many months. Okay, well, there's that. When interviewed by police officers at the scene, Lee said that he was sitting at the kitchen table on his computer when he heard gunshots. He then ran upstairs to get his pistol, came downstairs and saw George. Lee ran back upstairs, put the gun away, and told Tia to call 911. Lee told the officers that he returned to George and performed CPR until a neighbor arrived and took over for him. So that means that he should be covered in blood. And why would you run back upstairs to put your gun up to tell her to call 911? That doesn't make sense. If you opened the door and you saw that somebody was shot on your front porch, are you putting your gun up?
Heck no, because who's shooting? I might need to shoot back. Blacka,
Right.
blacka, blacka.
You might be next. Let's continue.
Also, wherever
Right.
the shell casing was found, y'all do know shell casings speak to trajectory.
Correct.
And they're going to look at the way the bullets entered the body.
Mhm.
They're going to take into account the height of the victim and where the bullets came from.
All that shit.
Shout out to forensics. Let's continue.
Mhm. I read all this. You can go to the next one. Tia told officers at the scene that she woke up to the sound of 2 gunshots. She said that Lee went to grab his gun and told her to call 911, which she did. When asked about problems in the home, Tia told officers that they stay broke.
What?
Tia told officers that they stay broke. She said she recently lost her job and that George had been borrowing money from different people. She also told officers that George had previously mentioned that a white SUV followed him on 2 occasions, and that on one of those occasions, the SUV tried to run George off the road. The neighbor testified that he heard gunshots, and after consulting with his family about the noise, he looked out of his window where he could see the front of the Young house. Less than 10 minutes after hearing the gunshots, the neighbor noticed a person moving from the direction of the Young house to a vehicle in a driveway and testified that the person was hunched over and did something to the vehicle before running back towards the house. The neighbor continued watching and saw the person do the exact same thing a minute or 2 later. George and Tia's 3 children slept through the events and neither heard or saw anything. The oldest child testified that he was a heavy sleeper. Another of the children was prescribed sleeping medication, and although he did not take it regularly, Tia had given him a sleeping pill that night. Tia's mother, who also lived in the home, explained that she did not hear anything because her television's volume was so high. 7 neighbors testified.
Wait a minute.
Go ahead.
Tia mama. Now I really want them to open up the case about your husband's self-deletion.
Your TV was that loud?
Right. I don't give a damn how loud your TV was. Now, if you deaf and you had the TV loud and you didn't have your hearing aids in, even then I'm gonna be side-eyeing you and stuff. But a gunshot is like people were shooting guns far, far away from my house. And it sounded like I was in a war zone. It was like, boom, boom, boom. Even the little pew pew guns. So inside the house, I know you lying. 7 neighbors heard the gunshot, but nobody in the house heard the gunshot. Make it make sense.
You can't. 7 neighbors testified about hearing the car leave the scene after the gunshots. Officers searched the home and found 2 handgun holsters and 1 handgun in Lee's room, as well as a rifle in Lee's truck. A GBI firearms examiner determined that the shooter used a .40 caliber Smith & Wesson. This weapon was never located, and there was no evidence that Lee owned a .40 caliber Smith & Wesson. Crime scene technicians performed a gunshot residue test and found no residue on Lee's hands. No fingerprints were found on the bullets.
Now let's be honest.
Gloves.
Right.
Come on now.
This is why I love you. So sexy. All it takes is gloves. Now he did something under the car twice. They seen him do it. So how y'all know what he was doing? Wasn't really trying to figure out a way to hide the .40 caliber gun, especially when somebody heard a car drive away from the scene after the gunshots. The neighbor thought she saw the same person, but what if it was two people involved? They should have been catching ring camera footage.
The first one was the tracker. The second one was either getting rid of or finding a way to hide the gun.
No, see, babe, you gotta think like criminal.
Mm-hmm.
The first time was getting the tracker and placing the gun. I bet you dollars to donuts David got away with his participation in this crime. Because what car drove away? They ain't talked to David at all.
Maybe somebody that was just sitting outside. I don't think David had anything to do with this.
David talking about they had to get a place and they had to finish. He had to handle the mess, right? So David knew about the affair.
David knew about the affair, but still, if them two went down and the whole thing is to not just be us two go down, why not just tell him David?
Well, see, here's the thing. If David hid the gun for Lee, and that was part of his contingency plan, why tell on David? You know the difference between malicious deletion and capital deletion?
Of course I do. It still doesn't tie David, because now you actually need the only people who would know anything about that would have to be those two, and neither one of them has come out and said it. But here's the trick bag.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Here's a trick bag. If one of them came out and said it, how do you prove it? They're already seen as liars. Their credibility is shot.
Well, see, here's the whole thing. They couldn't prove it now, but I'm sure people had, ring cameras back then too. So I don't know. But I know that the statute of limitations on deletion doesn't run out. Now here's the thing about this group of people, and I'm subject to think that David is the same. Loose lips sink ships. There's been plenty of unresolved issues and murder cases found years and years later. We're not that far removed. But I bet you that 40 caliber turns up. Anyway, let's continue.
On November 17th, the morning after the shooting, George's employer went to the young home and said, how many pages is this? Okay.
We don't have to really go through it all. I just want to go into the footnotes. You guys know the story. If you guys want to pull it up, just look it up and read through it yourself. For example, the prosecutor stated George Young was beloved. There is hardly anybody who had a negative word to say about George Young. This case is about an individual who was beloved. He had a work ethic that was unparalleled, not to be touched. Lee does not assert his ruling as error on appeal. So it looks like for the most part, their appeal was denied. So I hope those children are living well or living better. Yeah. They ruled that the case would have turned out no different. It'll probably be found in EP. Facts, Tootie. I don't know. Maybe not being doped up anymore.
I can tell you one thing. I'm glad these people is in jail. They didn't get what they deserved, though. They deserve far worse.
Dying is easy. Dying is happiness for most. But to live in a cage, I think that's the best punishment of all.
Well, I hope her sons got the help that they needed. Well, not her sons, because apparently she didn't care about those sons. I hope his children get the care that they needed, because this woman, their mother, worst example worst excuse of living that's walking around this earth. And whatever she gets, she deserves.
But y'all, we are going to let you go. Please be sure to check out the blog for this story on don'tplaywithit.com. And also our episode that premiered earlier today from Villains Unveiled. We hope you enjoyed these stories and that you'll stay sticky because January is the month of the villain. That being said, babe, any final thoughts? Thank you. Baby,
Can you hear
muted.
me? Yeah,
Now I
my
can.
bad. Yeah, keep your friends close and keep your enemies closer, but don't bring them in your house though. Just that simple. Don't bring them in your house. That's all I got.
Yes, yes. And you guys look forward to the next episode of Villains Unveiled because these lives, they'll happen sporadically, but the uploads will be every 2 to 3 days. Take care. Good night.